We're reading in Book 1, Canto 4, Secret Knowledge. We're on page 49 at the break. After being introduced to Savitri and King Aswapati, the author here in this canto kind of takes a break, an interlude, in order to give us a kind of perception of reality, of existence, especially of our developing world here. So it's as if the narrator kind of takes over here and there's an interlude in the action. Realization of Aswapati in his yoga, which we were taken through in the last canto. And in the beginning, we're first introduced to this as Aswapati's realization, but it quickly turns into a kind of a realization that is accessible to all of us. A kind of a general truth of existence to which we can have access as well. And he was telling us that within our inner being, these truths, these realities of existence, which he is going to be describing, exist within us at all times. So, for example, towards the end of page 46, he says, even when we fail to look into our souls or lie embedded in earthly consciousness, still have we parts that grow towards the light. Yet are there luminous tracks in heaven serene, and Eldorados of splendor and ecstasy, and temples to the Godhead none can see. So these kind of higher realities are there within us. And he says a shapeless memory lingers in us still, and sometimes when our sight is turned within, earth's ignorant veil is lifted from our eyes. There is a short, miraculous escape. So we can enter into these higher realms. And he was kind of telling us at the end of our last reading on page 49 that these are the heights to which we are evolving, to which we are moving. So he says, these are the truth of all these cryptic shows in space, the real towards which our strivings move, the secret grandiose meaning of our lives. So these inner truths that he is describing, this is what we're moving towards, and this is really the meaning of our existence here. So we will continue from there. at the break on page 49. And
Larry, I like so much when he sees the secret things no words can speak. It's the last line.
Yeah, he sees the secret things no words can speak, and knows the goal of the unconscious world and the heart of the mystery of the journeying years.
Yeah.
So, and this was referring to a burning witness in the sanctuary. This burning witness is the divine within, deep within us, hidden within us. And this knows, this sees, understands the secret of life. And it knows the goal towards which our life is gradually evolving. The heart of the mystery of the journeying years. But now he's going to kind of give us a counterpoint to that and how the world normally looks to us. So Tinaka, would you come in?
What always screams sublime, mystical. It needs the intuitive heart, the inward turn. It needs the power of the spiritual gaze. Else to our waking minds, small moments, look a goalless voyage, seems our goodness course. Some chance has settled, or hazarded some will, or a necessity without aim or cause, unwillingly compelled to emerge in me. In this dense field where nothing is plain or sure, our very being seems to us questionable. Our life a vague experiment, the soul a flickering light in a strange, ignorant world. The earth a brute, mechanic accident, a net of death in which by chance we live. All we have learned appears a doubtful guess. The achievement done, a passage or a phase, whose further end is hidden from our sight. A chance happening or a fortuitous fate. Out of the unknown, we move to the unknown.
Thank you. That's class. So in the earlier passage, Sri Aurobindo had given us a view of these higher worlds, these greater experiences that we can have within our inner being. But he's saying that needs kind of an inward turn, an inward look, an intuitive heart, a spiritual gaze. Otherwise, when we just are living on the surface of our lives, things just seem to kind of go on by chance. We can't understand really, what is behind all this. We can't see what's moving, the forces that are moving our life here. It seems like some kind of chance or some necessity without aim or cause, or some will which yet we cannot understand what might be behind it. And here, when we look out at the world in this dense field, nothing is plain or sure, and our very being seems to us questionable. Even science now has kind of thrown everything into doubt. Even the physical world now is no longer really a stable physical world, but just kind of a movement, particles consisting more of more space than matter. Our life, our soul is like a flickering light in a strange, ignorant world. And even what we discover and have learned about life through science, it's all unsure. All those results of the scientific experiments, they're overturned over time with new discoveries. Everything seems to be kind of in doubt. And we don't know what's going to unfold next, where it's going, why it's moving in the way it is. Its further end is hidden from our sight. It's as if it's all just kind of a chance happening. Out of the unknown, we move to the unknown. We're surrounded by all questions. Julia, would you continue?
Ever surround our brief existence here, gray shadows of unanswered questionings. The dark and conscious, signless mysteries stand up unsolved behind fate's starting line. An aspiration in the night profound, seed of a perishing body and half-lit mind, uplifts its lonely tongue of conscious fire towards an undying light forever lost. Only it hears, sore echo of its dark call, the dim reply in man's unknowing heart, and meets, not understanding why it came, or for what reason is the suffering here, God's sanction to the paradox of life, and the return of the immortal's birth in time.
Let's pause. So the first lines he's again describing that we're kind of surrounded by these questionings, these unanswered mystery surrounding our lives. But then he gives us kind of a little deeper insight into those. He calls them the dark in conscience, signless mysteries. Stand up unsolved behind fate's starting line. So at the base of all of this unknown, this mysterious kind of unfolding of existence, at the base of that is the inconscient. Kind of just a unconscious darkness, a blank. It's all, and what kind of comes out of it is a mystery. A signless mystery. Mystery without really clear clues. And then he says that there is an aspiration in this night's profound. Out of this inconscient, this blank of existence, unconscious existence, some aspiration arises. And that is the seed of our perishing body and half-lit mind. Something within that profound darkness aspires for something higher. It uplifts its lonely tongue of conscious fire towards an undying light, forever lost. And that aspiration, only it hears, sole echo of its call, the dim reply in man's unknowing heart. And meets, not understanding why it came, or for what reason, is the suffering here God's sanction to the paradox of life. So this aspiration meets in man, kind of unknowing, God's sanction to this paradox of life. Somehow God seems to be allowing, sanctioning all of this suffering, this slow, struggling development. The riddle of the immortal's birth in time. And then he's kind of giving us the secret of what it all is in that line. Sudanya?
Alone with God of eons have been drawn, in the coiled darkness of our loosened course. The earth goddess toils across the sands of time. A being is in her, whom she hopes to know. The word speaks to her, she cannot hear. A fate complete, whose form she cannot see. In her unconscious orbit through the void, out of her mindless depth, she strives to rise. The greatest life her gain is struggling joy. The thought that can conceive but hardly knows, arises slowly in her and creates. The idea that is that levels more than its heights, a trembling gladness that is less than his, invades from all this beauty that must die. Around by the sorrow dragging at her feet, and conscious of the high things not yet owned. Ever she nurses in her sweetest breast an inward urge that takes from her rest and peace.
Okay, thank you. I have a beautiful image of this earth goddess as if kind of a snake crawling through the sands of time across the eons.
Larry, what is Earth Goddess, or is the for the science? What is represented in the Earth? This aspect of the sun, but you know much more about Goddess of Earth?
No, I don't. I mean, we assume there is a goddess of Earth, and then maybe sometimes it's like Mother Nature or something like that.
Mother Nature.
But he's just kind of describing a particular aspect.
No nature?
Like mother in the Lord, not the divine. Like, everything has a being representative of even planets which are inanimate. Everything. So Earth is an evolutionary planet. So
Yeah.
whatever we call nature is a being.
Yeah, and I would agree that this is kind of maybe its lower aspect, unconscious still, dark.
The kind of Maya?
Maya is a little bit more philosophical kind of term, and often kind of associated with mystery or illusion or something,
But she is also the Shakti which creates.
But then it's interesting that he describes this earth goddess toiling through time, having a being within her whom she hopes to know. So within her depths, she must feel a presence, something. And a word speaks to her heart she cannot hear.
What?
What?
Because she is ignorant.
Yes. It is just.
Something from within, sometimes.
To know. Alors normalement, tu know. She knows. But I have a question about 160. Along the path of aeon certain time. Certain time is an adjective, or where does it go, the certain time?
Yeah, it's kind of,
Along the certain time path, or
yeah,
along the certain time path?
curving.
Even these endless aeons, they go in this way.
Yeah, I understand the idea, but I just
Strengthens it.
wanted to know with what it was going there.
The path is twisting and turning.
Yeah.
This time in evolution is in life.
Cyclic.
Quiet.
It's something ups and down all the times.
Yeah, things don't move in a straight line. They kind of go up and down and around, circle back.
Like Corona has given some sort of again normal something like that.
We keep facing the same problems over and over. So something in her, deep within, kind of is egging her on to continue to move as if there's some kind of secret yet to discover or a greater life yet to find. She strives to rise. But then he describes kind of our condition, a perilous life. That's all we've gained so far. A struggling joy, a thought that can conceive but hardly knows. The idea, the speech that labels more than it lights. You put names on things, but it doesn't really explain them often. A trembling gladness that is less than bliss invades from all this beauty that must die. Ever she nurses in her sleepless breast an inward urge that takes from her rest and peace. Gangalachi.
Ignorant and worried and invincible, she seeks through the soul's world and quivering flame. The pure perfection her married nature needs, a breath of Godhead on her stone and need, a faith she craves that can survive defeat, the sweetnesses of a love that knows not death, the radiance of truth forever sure. A light grows in her. She assumes a voice. Her step she learns to read and act she has done. But the one need true eludes her grasp. Herself and all of which she is a sign. An inarticulate whisper drives her steps, on which she feels the force, but not the sense. A few rare intimations come as guides, immense, while divining flashes clean her brain. And sometimes, in her hour of dream and news, the truth that she has missed look out on her, as if far off and yet within her soul.
Thank you. So this is again the earth goddess, slowly winding its way through the long eons of time, ignorant and weary, and yet invincible, unstoppable, unbreakable. She keeps going. She seeks through the soul's war and quivering pain the pure perfection her marred nature needs. Marred means damaged, kind of chipped, scratched.
Disfigured. Disfigured. Disfigured.
Disregard?
Disfigured.
Disfigured.
I thought I was thinking it was mud, like muddy.
Marred? No. Marred is kind of, it's damaged, it's chipped, it's
Okay.
scratched.
And I don't know why, but ignorant and wary and invincible. It made me think about the worms in the film June, you know? The worms in June,
In
the
June.
film, the movie.
It was.
I don't know that.
Okay, never mind.
But this slow evolution, it's very difficult. Soul's war and quivering pain. Gives us some adjectives that touch us with the difficulty. But through all of that, she's seeking some kind of perfection. A breath of Godhead on her stone and mire.
And Maya means...
Yeah, that's this
Mud.
dirty mud.
Her.
A faith she craves that can survive defeat. Because or it and us, we're continually defeated, but somehow we can have a faith that survives all of those defeats and continues like the earth goddess. And we seek this sweetness of a love that knows not death. The radiance of a truth forever sure. And slowly, through a long time, a light grows in her, and she assumes a voice. This is maybe the stage of humanity. Her state she learns to read, and the act she has done. But still, the one needed truth eludes her grasp. She still cannot find that truth she is seeking, that perfection, herself and all of which she is the Son.
A change comes near that flees from the sunlight, and ever postponed compels attempt and hope, yet seems too great for mortal hope to die. A vision meets her of supernal powers that draw her as if mighty kinsmen lost, approaching with estranged, great luminous gaze. Then is she moved to all that she is not, and stretches arms to what was never hers. Outstretching arms to the unconscious void, passionate she prays to invisible forms of gods, soliciting from dumb fate and toiling time what most she needs, what most exceeds her scope. A mind unvisited by illusion's gleams, a will expressive of soul's deity, a strength not forced to stumble by its feet, a joy that drags not sorrow as its shape. For these she yearns, and feels them destined hers. Heaven's privilege she claims as her own right.
Thank you. I think we skipped a few lines, which I'll read. An inarticulate whisper drives her steps, of which he feels the force, but not the sense. A few rare intimations come as guides. Immense divining flashes cleave her brain. And sometimes, in her hours of dream and muse, the truth that she has missed looks out on her, as if far off, and yet within her soul. So again, he's describing this progression of the earth goddess through the sands of time, and we've kind of come to the human stage. And now, at this kind of maybe more developed human stage, we begin to have some intuitions of a deeper reality, of the deeper truth that is within us, hidden within us. So we get some rare intimations from that inner self that come as guides to us. What should we do? Or even immense divining flashes cleave her brain. Might have strong flashes of insight, intuition, light coming.
This verse is really very strong. Immense divine flashes cleave our brain. Wow.
And sometimes when we're dreaming or meditating, musing, the truth that we had missed looks out on us. As if far off and yet close within our soul. And then, as Nitya had read, then change begins to come. Change comes near, but maybe still eludes us, still flees from her surmise.
Surmise?
Contemplate,
Huh?
contemplate,
Assumption.
yeah, kind of something like that, assumption, thoughts that we have of things that might be.
Whatever she has grasped. And
Yeah, it's kind of questionable grasping, though. It's like, it's not real firm. And even though it kind of still eludes us, it compels attempt and hope. It still urges us to go on. We have some sense of something deeper within us, pushes us to keep going, keep looking. And then, even more strongly, a vision meets her of supernal powers that draw her as if mighty kinsmen lost approaching with estranged, great, luminous eyes, luminous gaze. So even within our vision, inner vision, in our dreams, we might have some being, divine being, approach us, look into our eyes. Then she moved to all that she is not and stretches arms to what was never hers. These kind of strong visitations from our inner being compel us to seek for that greater light, that greater perfection that they represent, the appearance in which they come. Then, passionate, she prays to invisible forms of gods, soliciting from dumb fate and toiling time what most she needs, what most exceeds her scope, a mind unvisited by illusions gleams, a will expressive of soul's deity, a strength not forced to stumble by its speed, a joy that drags not sorrow as its shade.
It's a good description of our tamasic humanness.
Well, I wouldn't call it tamasic though, because it's that part in us that's praying for these things.
Yeah, but then
Kind of longing for that. True, they're still beyond us. But we're calling. Passionate, she prays.
Invisible form of God. In the beginning, when I came to Auroville, I had some difficulty. I called Krishna, Shiva, Durga, help me. He helped me. Really. Was a tale about Durga in National. Only one goddess, psychic being, conversion. Only this goddess, Durga. When I read this, I love Durga.
So we can pray to these gods and goddesses.
Yeah.
And even though we may not see their forms, yet they can
But
respond.
depends your vision, inner vision. But very fast, not stay near you. Suddenly.
But is there a difference in Sri Aurobindo uses gods with capital G and small g in other places?
Maybe greater gods and lesser gods.
Different levels.
Yeah, because we'll see like in book 2, he has, the godheads of all the different planes. There are godheads on all the planes.
So really means all light and above. The gods that we generally, the earth nature sees as false.
Yeah, generally it's true that they talk of the overmind as the world of the gods. So those are the higher gods.
But also, I remember when I visited Kirit in Caire, he told me, which God you pray? I tell Krishna, I prefer Krishna. He tells Shiva and Krishna is one.
Shiva?
Shiva and Krishna is one. Read in poetry of Auroville. And suddenly I discovered, wow, it's incredible. It turned just like that. It's incredible. Alors suddenly he gave me knowledge about God, also especially about Krishna and Shiva. Alors I learned from him, not only, but life is like that.
Wasn't there a time when Sri Aurobindo also signed his name Shiva and Kali, I
I
think.
think
Krishna and Shiva. No, Krishna Kali.
No, he signed it as
Kali Krishna.
Kali.
Initially, he also identified with goddess Kali during his
Kali
early years of
in the
study.
beginning. But I am sure he's one for me. Kali, but Krishna is
In
not.
essence, it is one. And it's just different levels. But Shiva and Krishna are in the same overmind, different aspect. Because I think there are many stories of sadhaks, one praying to Shiva and then she was not able to recognize Sri Aurobindo, and then mother made her experience that they are the same. So it's essentially the same except levels.
Well, I'm not sure because Krishna has helped Sri Aurobindo from very early. He was in the jail, and then he incorporated Sri Aurobindo later in the 20s or 30s. But Sri Aurobindo says of Shiva that he did not want to incarnate now, and he's waiting for the supermind to be
For transformation.
already there. So,
But also Krishna entered in Sri Aurobindo in 24 November 1920. Alors, the mother said in agenda, it's not easy for Sri Aurobindo, but for Krishna it's okay. It's the evolution of him.
There was
Sorry?
there was the descent of Krishna into Sri Aurobindo's physical, right, on November 24th, 1926.
1920?
6. And then that was the city day, known as the city day, but it was explained that Krishna had descended into Sri Aurobindo, into the physical. So I think he really kind of incarnated in a way into Sri Aurobindo. But here, Sri Aurobindo gives us a nice view of kind of different divine aspects using these capitalized words: mind, will, strength, joy. Different aspects of the divinity that this earth goddess is seeking. For these she yearns and feels them destined hers. And then he says, heaven's privilege she claims as her own right. And then he says, just is her claim. The all-witnessing gods approve. Clear in a greater light than reason owns, our intuitions are its title deeds. Our souls accept what our blind thoughts refuse. And let's continue from there.
Earth's winged chimeras are truth's steed in heaven, the impossible God's sign of things to be. But few can look beyond the present stage or overlap this matted hedge of sense. All that transpires on earth and all beyond are parts of an illimitable plan the one keeps in his heart and knows alone. Our outward happenings have their seed within, and even this random fate that indicates chance, this mass of unintelligible results, are the dumb graph of truths that work unseen. The laws of the unknown create the known. The events that shape the appearance of our lives are a cipher of subliminal quiverings, which rarely we surprise or vaguely feel, are an outcome of the suppressed realities that hardly rise into material day. They are born from the Spirit's sun of hidden powers, digging a tunnel through emergency.
Thank you. The first couple of lines there are kind of the culmination of what we had just read before. This earth goddess kind of claiming these divine qualities for itself. So here he's saying, earth's winged chimeras are truth's steeds in heaven, the impossible God's sign of things to be. Now these chimeras are fire-breathing she-monsters of Greek myth, with a lion's head, a goat's body, and a serpent's tail. And then it's used in more kind of psychological sense of kind of imaginary things, but kind of an imaginary thing of incongruous parts, kind of made up of kind of a mixture of things that don't seem to make sense together. So these kind of fantasies that we may have of love without death, or truth, mind unvisited with illusions, joy that drags not sorrow as its shade, all these things that we kind of fantasize for. These are like these chimeras. But there are truth steeds in heaven. These are kind of actually kind of things that are there as truths in heaven. We claim them for ourselves, but they are truths. And things that will one day be true here on earth. But then he goes and says, but few can look beyond our present state, overleap this matted hedge of sense. Our senses are like a hedge, kind of keeping us within, walled in to our outer sense of life. Says all that transpires on earth and all beyond are parts of an illimitable plan. The one keeps in his heart and knows alone. So all of this on earth and all in heaven, these truths above and these fantasies we have here on earth, they're all parts of one plan that the divine alone knows. And the things happening here on earth, our outward happenings, have their seed within. They have their truths within. And even this random fate that imitates chance, this mass of unintelligible results, are the dumb graph of truths that work unseen. They're kind of signs of a truth that is unfolding, working, unseen. The laws of the unknown create the known. That unknown, deep within, hidden from our sight, create the outer surface happenings of our life. The events that shape the appearance of our lives are a cipher, kind of a sign of subliminal quiverings from within our inner being, which rarely we surprise or vaguely feel. They are an outcome of suppressed realities that hardly rise into the outer world, into the material day. They're born from the spirit sun of hidden powers, digging a tunnel through emergency. Sometimes these inner realities find a way, dig a tunnel out, and get some kind of expression in the outer life. Sanjay?
comes the light of the unknown, waiting in us, to set them free, to answer these. The mighty cross of the cosmic wheel, turning gaze, image to our side. Our day comes light of the unknown, waiting in us
Thank you. So it's kind of a continuation of the idea that the things happening in the outer life are determined, are created from within, from hidden realities, maybe trying to express themselves in the outer life. But normally, that vision of those realities are hidden from our sight. So who shall pierce into the cryptic gulf and learn what deep necessity of the soul determined casual deed and consequence? Who is going to look within and find that secret within? Normally, absorbed in a routine of daily acts, our eyes are fixed on an external scene. We hear the crash of the wheels of circumstance and wonder at the hidden cause of things. Why these wars? Why these pandemics? Why these problems in the world? What is the cause of these? We wonder. And he says, yet the foreseen knowledge might be ours if we could take our spirit's stand within. If we could live within our inner being. If we could hear the muffled daemon voice. Daemon is a kind of attendant spirit. And apparently in Greek mythology it was kind of a being kind of between the gods and human beings in the mid-realms. But it's a kind of a spirit.
But it was also some kind of inner being. Socrates, I think he spoke about his demon, no?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it comes from the Greek, though.
I think Jung also speaks about the demon.
He says, too seldom, but seldom is the shadow of what must come, cast in an instant on the secret sense. Sometimes we may get a glimpse of what will happen. But that's a seldom experience. It feels the shock of the invisible. Something from within touches us. And then, seldom in the few who answer give, the mighty process of the cosmic will communicates its image to our sight, identifying the world's mind with ours. So even when that comes, those intuitions of something that may be about to happen, seldom does that cosmic will really come forward and communicate its image, identifying the world's mind with ours. Normally, our range is fixed within the crowded arc of what we observe and touch and thought can guess. Rarely dawns the light of the unknown, waking in us the prophet and the seer. Helmut, continue. Helmut, would you continue?
The outward and the immediate are revealed. The dead past is our background and support. Mind keeps the soul prisoner. We are slaves to our minds. We cannot free our gaze to reach wisdom's sun. Inheritor of the brief animal mind, man, still a child in nature's mighty hands, in the succession of the moments. To a changing present is his narrow light. His memory stares back at a phantom past. The future flees before him as he moves. He sees imagined garments, not a face. Armed with a limited, precarious strength, he saves his fruits of work from a worse chance. A struggling ignorance is his wisdom's mate. He waits to see the consequence of his acts. He waits to weigh the certitude of his thoughts. He knows not what he shall achieve or when. He knows not whether at last he shall survive, or end like a mastodon and a swamp, and perish from the earth where he was king. He is ignorant of the meaning of his life. He is ignorant of his high and splendid fate.
Thank you. Let's pause. So Sri Aurobindo is giving us a kind of a clear assessment of our present state, humanity's present state, being quite limited. Although we have access to those inner realms within us, normally we don't pierce into them deep enough. And we're confined to the outward, surrounded again by all these questions. It all looks like a mystery. It all seems kind of a passing chance. Man is still a child in nature's mighty hands. We live in the succession of the moments. He was talking about if we go within, we could maybe see the future. We could identify with the cosmic will, with the cosmic mind. But normally we are not. To a changing present is his narrow right. Even the past, it's a phantom past. I can hardly remember what happened. The future is unknown. We have a limited, precarious strength. We're just trying to kind of preserve the fruits of our work, of our labors. Struggling ignorance is his wisdom's mate. We have to wait to see the consequence of our acts. We have to wait to see whether what we think is true or not. We know not whether we're going to achieve something or not. We don't even know whether mankind will survive or become extinct like the mastodon and the sloth and perish from the earth where we were king. We're ignorant of the meaning of our life and ignorant of his high and splendid fate. And the thing, although it kind of gives a kind of a dismal picture of humanity, at the end, kind of ends with a bright note. We're ignorant of our high and splendid fate. So he suggests there's something great to come, though we don't know.
But when you have sometimes, not every day, but a vision of the future, it's difficult to stay in the. When you have a Rajasic nature, it's difficult to stay. But your vision, living the moment sometimes is very, very difficult for everybody. But your vision and stay there is. But you accept endurance, others. Endure and endure.
Sometimes we may just get a brief glimpse of something, what will happen. There was somebody came to my house a few days back. He was kind of upset because he had kind of a dream or vision or something of an accident, and then he witnessed that accident later in the day. And I've had things like that too, where I had a dream of something and then it unfolded just like that in the real life. Sometimes
2004, I had a great accident. But Mother said, your vision is not a 3-day emergency. Mother said, go back. We are not finished your mission. Alors I accept, difficult to endure, but now definitely I accept. And I changed totally the red, not left, but right.